the 31st head football coach at the University of Wisconsin, Luke Fickell.
Does it feel like it's been 100 days?
Maybe 300, I mean. I don't know, they all kind of run together. I mean, there's so many things, whether it's recruiting, whether it's preparing for spring ball and things like that. So I think you kind of lose sight of it, and especially when it's, so new.
When the news broke that Luke Fickell was coming to Wisconsin, what did your phone look like? What was that day like for you?
It's such a whirlwind, and whether it's the phone, whether it's just, people, sending you messages, reaching out, different things, it's kind of crazy. And, you don't want to not respond. You don't want to not say thank you and things like that. But, the influx of all the different things, that's not really what you're thinking about. You're walking into a place with, a new 100 so guys that, that's what's all on your mind. So unfortunately, some of those things from the past and the people that you owe so much to, it almost gets pushed into the background of, initially, hopefully not for the 100 days, but at least for the first few weeks.
How quick was the timeline of sitting down with your family, saying, hey, we're doing this, and then it becoming official and coming out publicly?
It happened pretty quick. And, the good fortunes is, we'd had these conversations over the last few years, my wife and I. We got a few kids, so we don't usually get them involved until the kind of the end of some sorts. But over the last few years, we kind of had prepared in case, the right thing came up for us and our family. And, so everything kind of happened fast.
Your oldest son still playing at Cincinnati. Is that a difficult conversation to have of, hey, I think I'm going to move on and go somewhere else? What does that look like?
It is. And probably didn't tell anything until maybe 4 or 5 hours before, we became a little bit more public. And, it's still a difficult situation. But he's been mature about it. We've been mature about it. I'm not saying we've had the greatest conversations even 100 days out, but I think it's a part of growing up. That went into consideration. There's definitely all the kids kind of in the family went into consideration. That was, a big one.
And your family, the younger ones, they still haven't all moved here, right? So what's a timeline of maybe the next 100 days, what it looks like for the whole family?
That's the most difficult thing. There's a lot to do in whatever, 100 days or 18 months, and some say. It's a good thing that they're probably not here because you wouldn't be able to spend as much time, but it's really nice when you can actually go home and maybe get your mind off of things for a few minutes because, I got twin 8-year-olds or, my own wife just to sit around and talk to. So they plan on coming here in spring break, end of March, beginning of April, that we kind of get the family back together and hopefully create some semblance of something normal, outside of just the office and everything that you do on a daily basis.
Because you had talked about you're living in an apartment right now, right?
Well, it went from a fraternity house living with the strength coaches to my own apartment now, like it was in college. But it's all a part of the process. I'd say a little lonely at times, but sometimes it's not bad as well. Hopefully here at the end of the month we'll get into a real home.
A lot of players had been vocal about wanting Jim Leonhard to have this position. How have you won over the locker room? Is that a process that's still ongoing?
That first, really 3 weeks was a big deal, meaning the bowl prep and the bowl game and that time spent with them. I think more than anything was the relationship with Jim. I think the relationship with all the coaches. I think they gave those guys, some really good insight on our situation and what was best. And I really don't believe we'd be in the situation we are right now, meaning the team we have, meaning maintaining the nucleus and keeping as many guys we did, if it wasn't for Jim.
Did you think you'd ever be here? Maybe not specifically University of Wisconsin, but did you think you would end up being a head football coach? Was that the plan?
No, never was the plan. I had a vision of continuing to go on to school when football was all said and done, and whether it was med school or uptown, I had some other plans. And when football was taken away, all of a sudden you start to reflect on what sports and the game of football in particular has meant to me in particular. And that's when I recognized, I said, oh my goodness, I always wanted to play, but the next best thing to playing was coaching.
Spring ball is going to be here just in a few weeks. What expectations do you have from this group?
Well, we don't win championships in spring football, but you can lose championships in spring ball. And I mean that if you don't have a system to what it is you're doing and understand that it's about, a process. And, from day one when we start, it won't be about, hey, let's talk about our goals. No, it's about the objectives of what spring ball is all about. It's about the fundamentals. It's about developing the habits that we need, that lead you to successes in the long run. So I think it's really being smart to understanding, when we start that first few days, first few practices, that we got to really kind of structure ourselves around the things that are important so that we can grow.
What are you grateful for to be in this position?
There's too many things. I mean, I think the people that have given me this opportunity, and there's so many that you can't just pinpoint it. I mean, the coaches that gave me the opportunity to start into this profession are big, big to me. But probably as much as anything is the players. You'd think you're the greatest coach in the world, and the reality is, if I could name off 5 or 6 guys right now that if they didn't do what they did, and they didn't make me look better than I really am, and have the successes that they had that ultimately give us these opportunities, there's no way I would be here. Whether it was guys I coached as a linebacker coach or a defensive coordinator, or in particular the guys at the University of Cincinnati that for sure gave us this opportunity. And you hate to say names, but the Desmond Ritters, the Kobe Bryants, the Ahmad Gardner, some of those guys in particular that I can never repay. Not that they need me to repay them; they've got their own lives. But those are the people that I'm most grateful for.
I know you don't have a ton of time to get out in Madison, but how has the reception been? I assume a lot of people, when you're out, come up to you, want to say hi, want to meet you. What has that been like?
It's awesome. It really is. I mean, we want to create that buzz. It's a lot better than the alternative. I've been at a place at a point in time when all of a sudden they were whispering about you and not talking to you, and it's not the route you want to go. But really, the only things I've done, I mean, I've gotten out to mostly the high schools, obviously through recruiting and things like that, and the welcome there, the acceptance, they realize, I think this community in general, the state in particular, the program is much bigger than even the people. That's what I'm impressed with as much as anything is, I'm not from here. I didn't play here, and there is a bit of a difference there, but they've embraced me as a part of them in everything that I've done.